The Arizona National Scenic Trail runs the length of the state of Arizona, running over 800 miles, snaking its way from the south border with Mexico to the north border with Utah. On it, you'll see deserts, mountains, forests, and lots of flora and fauna. So much of what Arizona has to offer. It even traverses the Grand Canyon. You can camp, hike, run, mountain bike, even ride a horse, but you can't drive it. Human power only. The really cool thing about this trail, though, is that you don't have to do all 800 miles at once. I've been on different sections of the trail, sometimes for a long hike or bike ride, sometimes for a quick walk in the woods. Last weekend, I took a quick trip from Flagstaff, Arizona, to play around on a portion of the trail just outside of town. Like many sections of the trail, this was quite accessible. You can often drive into a parking area and catch the trail right there. And this trail is incredibly well marked. You'll see signage from parking areas and along the trail. That makes this one of my favorite destinations. I don't really have to think about it. I know that I can find a section, that the section will be easy to follow, and that I'm going to be sure to see some cool stuff. That said, anytime you're going to be off the beaten path, map and a GPS are really a good idea. Sometimes you might just be on a trail and see no one and nothing but wild, but often you'll find a destination. This weekend, I hiked less than a mile into the trail and stumbled upon Prime Lake, a wetland enclosure. It's a protected area for waterfowl and for migratory birds to rest, nest, and generally feel safe. For that reason, you're supposed to stay on the trail and appreciate the wetland from a distance, but it would be a great place to bring your binoculars or your telephoto lens. This is what I love about the Arizona Trail. It's a gigantic field trip with various exhibits like Prime Lake, other lakes, features, and mountains, and even a passage through the Grand Canyon. Now, with more than 800 miles to choose from, how do you figure out where to go? How do you know what kind of topography that you're going to run into, or if you'll be able to even access the trail? And what are you going to see? Well, there are books devoted to the trail that have detailed explanations of each section. Also, the Arizona Trail Association at aztrail.org has information. These resources will tell you everything you'll need to know. Parking areas, what kind of wildlife you'll see, if there are any cool things like Prime Lake. One thing you'll find if you do an internet search for the Arizona Trail is accounts of hikers through hiking the entire trail and mountain bikers through biking the entire trail. You'll even see some people on horseback. Through hiking or biking means that you start at one spot and hike to another spot. You don't do a loop or turn around and go back the way you came. With regard to the Arizona Trail, you'll see and can even talk with people who have traversed the entire length of the trail all in one go over the period of weeks or months, usually camping along the trail. These folks are tough, and many truly enjoy to share their experiences. No matter what you decide to do on the trail or how long you'll be on the trail, the number one thing to do is to plan. Anytime you'll be on any trail, there are a lot of things to think about. And I'm not going to give you a how-to on hiking, but let me talk to you about a few things. Be sure to think about your food and water. There's almost none in the 800 plus miles of the trail. And then how you're going to pack out your trash. And if you're camping, there are a few areas that require permits, so check that out before you go. And you will be on private land from time to time, so be respectful. And there are a couple of question marks: weather and animals. You should definitely check the weather before you go, but make sure to plan for the worst: summer storms, flash floods, and animals. There are lots of cute critters on the trail, but also scary ones like rattlesnakes and bears. Basically, do a little research into the area you're going to be in and know what you'll do if something happens. You know, I go on these hikes and I share photos and video and stories, and it might seem like I just trot out my front door and magically I'm hiking some fabulous trail, not a care in the world. But there is a planning process. I do a lot of research before I go somewhere new so that I know what I'm getting myself into. And I always come prepared with things that I might need, and I listen to my body while I'm out there. If I need to turn back, I turn back. If I need to sit down, I sit down. Plus, I have a lot of experience, which can help a ton when things go sideways. So, head out on the Arizona Trail. There's a lot to see, but make sure that you bring plenty of water and make a plan. And be respectful. Leave no trace. Of course, there is one thing that you can take with you from your journey, and no one will mind.